Our next guest, I'll tell you, I mean, I'm looking at the name of the organization and the company, Mana, and WavenDean Fernandez is with us here today. And I said it's a name, it's a word, one word that means so much. Waven, thanks for being with us. Good morning.
Good morning, Rick. Thanks for having me here.
It's a pleasure to see you today. Well, first of all, let's start off with the name and start off with your company.
Well, I was born and raised in the Big Island, and I left after high school to have a professional career in the mainland of about 25 plus years in branding, design, and marketing, advertising, and such. And about 2.5 years ago, I came back to the Big Island for family reasons. I have some elderly relatives, and I brought my family back. And I looked at what I was doing professionally on the mainland and internationally, and I thought, gosh, I would wonder if the companies here on the Big Island could benefit from this. And it's branding, design, and marketing, and helping people to look at their brand expression and how they treat their customer experience. And so I started the company's about going on 2 years this February, so just had our 2-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
And I always knew that I wanted to get back to the big city because I moved most recently from San Francisco and had been there for many years. And I had the opportunity to come to Honolulu and do some work with clients through one of my other clients, Luxury Home Magazine Hawaii. And through that experience, we took over the creation of the whole magazine and then doing custom advertising and branding work for some of the clients inside. So I'd been coming to Honolulu now for about 6 months. And I figured, you know, the first thing to do to really establish a presence here was to join the Chamber of Commerce, which I'm a member of both chambers on the Big Island.
I see.
It's a central organization, kind of a foundation for networking and getting connected to the business community. So that's how I found myself here, and I'm very thankful for the opportunity to speak with you.
Well, tell us a little bit about branding, because I know this is a term that many business people are aware of. Can you explain what it really is?
Yeah, it's talked about a lot, and it's become a larger meaning right now, and it's more about the features and benefits that you have. It's really about establishing that brain-to-heart connection with your customers and potential customers or prospects, that emotional connection that customers have. You know, if you look at brands like Nike or Coke or Apple or BMW, even Crocs, you know, those funny shoes, right? People have such an emotional connection to those brands. They're passionate about it. And in fact, in terms of Apple, because I spent 5 years there in the creative services group and got to see this firsthand working with the Apple brand, people are so passionate about it, they'll wait overnight, right? They'll sleep out to get their first iPhone.
You know, my wife feels that way about Apple. So
right, and you look around, so not only do they make beautiful products and they're crafted beautifully in industrial design and the interface and things are beautifully designed, it's also this extra gestalt, if you will, this emotional experience that they have. It becomes a part of people's lives, and that's why they're so passionate about the brand. That's where branding is what is, you know, the essence of it. That's what it's really about.
You've described a couple things that have tangible products, but there are those who engage in providing services.
Correct.
How do you equate branding when it's with an intangible like a service?
Well, you take a look at folks like Nordstrom's, right? And they're about to open a new store here, right? And you look at what really is the essence of Nordstrom's. Yes, it's shoes, right? That's the core of what they start and what they provide. But it's really about the customer service, right? And there's a famous mythology in branding where there was a Nordstrom's customer and the gentleman brought back a couple of tires, worn tires, to a Nordstrom store in Seattle when they first started. And they don't even sell tires at all, and they took them back. Talk about the passion for customer service that they have. And you know that one person taking those tires back is going to talk to 25 people about his experience with Nordstrom's, right?
Exactly.
And I believe that the story is true, but it just goes to the point of what can you do to go above and beyond to provide customer delight, you know, and exceed expectations, if you will. And sometimes it's the smallest things that you do. The way you answer a phone, the way you follow up after an appointment, those little things, those little touch points that you do with your customers really make a big difference in terms of creating an emotional connection to the brand.
Amen to that. Amen. WavenDean Fernandez is our guest for this segment of Spotlight on the Chamber. The name is Mana. It is Strategic Brand Marketing and Design. Tell us about how folks can contact you.
Call me directly, talking about customer service. My cell phone number, of course, is 808-345-0734. Again, 345-0734. And by all means, look at the website, because that's a key thing that they can check out the work that we've done and who we've done it for and kind of the breadth of the programs. And that's simply manabrandmarketing.com.
In the whole scheme of things, because we're all balancing technology versus old school.
Right.
What advice do you give to folks who rely a little bit more on the technological side, which is the email, the website? hyperlinks, things like that, as opposed to someone a little more old school who picks up a phone, who stops by the office and things like that.
Exactly. Good point. I mean, I think email and the website, absolutely critical. You should definitely have an experience that's created on your website. So with navigation and user design and all of the best factors of design for that experience. But the key thing is, just because email's available, don't forget that a phone call or a handwritten note is not as equally, if not more important in a day and age like now. Because when we get a note from someone or a little gift or something, a little bit of aloha and a mahalo for the experience or the meeting or the appointment, it means so much more. And so many folks kind of tend to just think, okay, I'll send an email. But take the time to write a note, take the time to make a phone call and say, thank you for your time, thank you for your consideration. And step out of the technology a little bit. Very important to use it appropriately. It can reach a lot of people for very little cost in terms of investment. But that human warm touch is really what creates the emotional connection between a brand and its customers. And whether the brand is an individual or a person or it's a company. And it's really both things. It's you as an individual and it's also yourself as the company that you might represent.
It's interesting because when you interact with folks in business, I think we've all been in business, been in those meetings where you sit down with a client for the first time. Well, you've known each other for 100 years. You're laughing and carrying on, having a great time. But when it comes down to the close, it doesn't seem to follow through to where the business part has to kick in. How does one reconcile while doing business that the personal side is wonderful, but we're there for business? How does that translate into generating more business for your company?
Well, I think one of the fundamental things is that if you really look at it, businesses like to do business with people that they trust and that they like and that there's some relationship established, right? Some common base or some commonality, whether that's on the personal side. You still have to fundamentally deliver the business value. You still have to deliver the right products and services at the right competitive price. The product has to be there. Right. What I'm talking about is if you have the product and it's competitive and it's the right fit for the client's needs and the solution for what they need, the other piece of establishing that connection and that relationship can put you over the top and close the sale.
Jeez,
so branding directly and branding done correctly in a holistic and an experiential way really directly relates to return on investment.
Fantastic. And folks that are listening now from the single proprietor, from the LLC that has, one manager and maybe a couple of folks working, to the largest companies can benefit from all this information. And you really do speak to small business because it's hyper competitive. You need to have that little guidance or little extra edge, if you will, to differentiate yourself from so many people out there. And is that really the essence and the core of what you do?
Well, I don't know if we fed this to you, but it's funny because on the front of our brochure, one of the things that we say is being different is important. And we have a picture of a field of white diamonds and one of them is blue. But then the call to action is, but creating a unique experience is essential.
Well, there you go, yeah.
Totally correct that being different and differentiated is absolutely critical. You need to take it a little bit further and turn that difference into something that's a unique experience. And like I said, it's sometimes not the biggest things that make the difference. It's the little things, the little touch points, the little reminders that you do, right? And so looking at your brand holistically, whether you're an individual or whether you're a big company, it's probably one of the most critical investments you can make in your business success.
Just very quickly, and not too much minutia, but if I were to give you a call, and let's say I'm a business person listening right now.
Correct.
And it's like, gosh, I'm looking for a way to try and really advance what I'm doing. I have specific goals and objectives, and they're listening to this conversation. If they drop you a call, Waven, and they maybe even come down and meet you in person, what kind of process would they expect to go through when they begin working with you?
Well, being of Portuguese descent, we love to talk story. So I always provide an initial consultation complimentary, sometimes at a Starbucks over a green tea Frappuccino.
Oh,
so if
there
they pick
go.
up the Frappuccino, I'll talk story to them. And really, it starts with a dialogue because this is a co-creation process. It's a collaborative effort. I think a lot of people in branding think that they're going to create a brand for somebody or for a company. And really, the analogy is more of what they asked. There was a famous quote to Michelangelo, and they said, well, how did you carve that David? And he said, well, I really kind of took intuition to feel what was in the block of marble and released what was in front of it. So every individual or every company has an essence of what their brand is about. And that's the key. It has to be authentic. It has to be real because they need to deliver this consistently over time once the branding consultant goes away, right?
Yeah.
So you look for that essence. What is that unique piece that you can then visually, verbally, and experientially express for them? And that in total becomes their experience.
Yeah.
So we sit down, talk story, and kind of figure out what they're doing now, what works, where's their business now, where's the gap in terms of where they want it to go, what are those metrics. Look at things that you can kind of measure. Is the brand work, investment, succeeding for you over time?
Right.
And we look at all the print things that they're doing, we look at all the electronic or digital things that they're doing, and we look at the experience they provide, whether they have a store or if it's an individual consultant. How do they show up? How do they respond? All those kinds of things.
Yeah, fantastic. Our music is on, signaling our end, but let's make sure that we have go through the 5 W's with us as far as where, when, how, and all of that. Please do.
All right, quickly, you can call me on my cell phone anytime. It's 345-0734, 345-0734, or the website, manabrandmarketing.com.
There we
Rick,
have it.
thank you very much.
Very impressive conversation. I really learned a great deal,
Mahalo.
and I'm sure folks that drop you a call, Waven, will do the same. And be sure and contact Waven at Mana, and you heard the numbers and the addresses, and be sure and take advantage of it. I want to thank everybody for joining us on this broadcast. We'll get back tomorrow for our Aloha Friday presentation, and we certainly hope you have a great day. Rush coming up after Fox News. We'll see you tomorrow.
With live news at the top of the hour, this is News Radio 830.